Okay, so let's solve this lab. If you recall, we have already completed all these steps and we had reached this point. So we already have two rules existing. Let me just quickly confirm it. So if I do cat etc snort rules local.rules, then we see that there are two rules which we created in the last lecture. However, worry not. If you're just seeing even just the default rule, that's fine. We're just going to focus on the current task, which is this one. The two new rules that we have to create. In order to edit the rules files, you have to do sudo, then the name of the editor, which you're going to use to edit the file, and then the path to the file. So etc snort rules local.rules. And this is the file. If I press I, then I'll go in the insert mode, which you can see from here as well. Okay, and then I'll press enter to go to the new line. So let's start with the first rule. So we need to write a rule that will alert on an Nmap port scan of SSH port 22. So when Kali Linux basically tries to do an Nmap port scan for the Nginx web server, this one, so then there should be an alert. So for that, what we can do is, let me just zoom in a little bit. So once again, alert. Protocol is TCP because Nmap by default scans using TCP. And then the source IP or the source network, let's keep it any, and the port any. We're more interested in the destination. So we want this to be triggered when someone tries to scan port 22 of the Nginx web container, which is 172.17.0.2. and then port 22. So this is very important. We have to specify that it should only trigger on port 22. So when someone tries to scan port 22, then this rule should trigger. Okay, so far so good. And then what's the message? So basically the message needs to be alert nmap scan detected on SSH. So let's do that. Okay. And then as always, you have to provide the SID, which in this case would be after 5 zeros. We have already used 3 and 4. So let's make it 5. There you go. Okay, this rule is done. Let's go to the next rule. So you need to write a rule which is going to alert on the ping reply, not the ping request. So when Kali Linux pings the container, we already have the rule which basically alerts us. But we also want an alert on the automatic reply that's coming from the container to Kali Linux. Okay. So the key point to understand here is that we already have this rule in which when Kali Linux was trying to ping the container, we basically saw this message, ping sweep detected. The key point to understand here is the direction of the operation or the direction of the rule. So in this case, we'll still have ICMP protocol, but in this one, we'll have it this way, 172.17.0.2 and any port. So basically we're saying the reply would be coming from the Nginx web container and it would be going to, and here you could put maybe if you want to be very specific 0.1, or you could also put any, and the port is also any, and then the message is, and then the SID. We have already used 5, so let's use 6 here. So the basic point to understand between this rule and this rule is that in this one, we were saying that alert on ICMP traffic coming from any IP or any source and any port going to the Nginx container on any port. However, in this case, when the reply is coming back, it will always be in the reverse direction. So this thing 172.17.0.2 any, which was basically the Nginx container, would be put here. So the reply is coming in this direction, okay? And going to the Kali Linux host, which we already discussed. And then the message is obviously alert and then the SID. Okay, so let's do escape, right quit. And just to be sure, let's just cat it again. Snort rules, local.rules. Yes, we see all the 4 rules, including the 2 new ones. Okay, so we're good to go. So now we need to go to desktop/labs, and then we have to launch the main script. We have to go to Snort Labs. However, we don't want to start everything from scratch because we just updated the rules file. We don't want it overwritten again. So we'll go with option 2, which is going to reset everything, but keep the rules file intact. Number 2. Okay, all looks good. So now to trigger these 2 rules, we'll need to obviously use a new tab here. Now let's try to trigger the first rule. So this rule would be triggered when we do an nmap port scan of SSH port 22 on the Nginx web container. So for this, it's very simple. Nmap -p22 and then the destination IP address of the Nginx web container. There you go. Let's see if it was detected by Snort or not. It may take a couple of seconds. There you go. Alert, nmap scan detected on SSH. Awesome. So the first rule is written and it also worked perfectly. Now let's move on to the second rule. So it will alert on the ping reply. So when Kali Linux pings this on the reply, the automatic reply, we should see this alert. So let's do that. So we'll do ping 172.17.0.2. So remember, we're not pinging in the reverse direction. We're still pinging. So Kali Linux is still pinging the Nginx Docker web container, but the automatic reply will come automatically. So the rule would still be triggered. So basically 2 rules should be triggered. But let's see. Let's press Ctrl+C to stop it. Now let's go back here. Excellent. So we're seeing, so this was our first alert and map scan. This one, ping sweep detected. That's very nice. And there you go. Alert ping reply detected. So if you compare these two, so for example, this one versus this one, you can already see ping sweep detected, and this is going from Kali Linux to the web container. But for the alert ping reply, it's going from the web container to Kali Linux. So awesome. That completes our lab. Thank you.